everyone here. So today is going to be some random facts slash small stories about me. So fact number one is I am color deficient. So I often say color blind, but the correct term is color deficient. Mine is a red-green deficiency. So when I was younger, myself and my siblings went to the eye doctors, and I can remember there was this task that we had to complete. One was you get those classic charts to look at to see if you can see a number or a letter within this color pattern. I think you've probably all seen it. It's like dots of color, and then inside that's dots of a different color, making like say a number 4, and you had to see if you could tell what was there. Some of those I could see, some of them were incredibly hard to decide if I could see what was proper, some of them couldn't see a thing. And the other thing that we did was, remember there was these caps that she had on the floor, and they were in different shades, so like blues, greens, reds, purples, and you had to line them up darkest to lightest, keeping the caps within their proper shade range. And I can remember this was really difficult to do. Some of them were so hard to tell if something was lighter or darker. And when I was finished, she actually flipped them upside down and there was numbers on the bottom so that she would know what the order was. And mine were so messed up. But I had thought I put in a really good, honest effort. So for day-to-day life, being color deficient, I don't really notice. If you want to know what it looks like for somebody seeing colors color deficient versus regular color, you can just look online. You can just Google that. Apparently there's usually pictures of what regular color looks like and what it looks like to a color deficient person. Colors don't look proper, aren't as vibrant or saturated. So day-to-day life, I don't notice it. There's just times where I'm like, ugh, I don't know what color that is. So if I'm picking out clothes, I might have to ask somebody, be like, is that brown or is that green? Is that blue or is that purple? Because I have a hard time with colors that aren't a true color. So say like a royal blue, people can be like, that's blue, but it has a purple undertone. To me, I'm like, is that blue? Is that purple? Is that blue? Is that purple? Like I can't decide. Same with like, say, a khaki green. People look at that and right away are like, that's green. To me, I might be like, oh, that's brown. So just silly things like that. When my husband and I first had our house, we were picking out the carpet for the entire house, countertops, tile. I was fired after my first selection because I thought I was picking like a nice cream colored carpet. Apparently it was like a light seafoam green, so I was canceled. Other times where I notice a issue is during Christmas, red and green plaid. Red and green together is the worst thing for my eyes. It's like the colors are alive and moving. So a red and green plaid, I can't, if I look at it, it's like colors are popping out at me, moving. It makes you almost feel sick and dizzy to look at. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess, but it's a weird thing to look at. The lines start weaving in and out. Some come forward, some come back. It's just makes you feel sick to your stomach. If I'm driving, the only time I notice I'm color deficient is if it's a bright blue sky, bright day, green light. Sometimes I cannot tell that any of the lights on the stoplight are on until I get closer and I can then see that, oh, it's the bottom one, it's the green one's on. If it's yellow or red, I can see that when that's on, but some reason, bright blue sky with the green light on, it looks like none of the lights are on. So yeah, that's one fun fact. Okay, so number 2, when I was 3 years old, I broke my left arm. We grew up on a farm and my siblings decided it was a great idea for us to take a sled off of a round bale in winter. So when you're a little kid, a round bale, they're pretty tall. And it was a terrible idea, so I went up on the round bale, sat on the sled, and it just basically fell right down and I landed on my arm. And I wasn't able to get up. And I remember going to the hospital and having to get an x-ray, and then I had to get a cast put on it. And when they were finished with all of that, I don't remember how long it took to heal, but once it was healed, they weren't happy with how it was set. And the options they gave my mom at the time were they could shave down the bone because there was a big lump, or they could re-break my arm. And my mom chose not to do anything because it was enough trauma and I could still move my arm and everything like that. So you can tell that it's not correct. So here's my right arm. My elbow ditch is right here. And here's my left arm. My elbow ditch is here. So you're kind of like that. But it's not a big deal anymore. So this was the part where they said if that was bothering me, they could shave down, but what's the point, right? And the only thing was when I was growing up and like when I was growing, sometimes my arm would jam and you'd snap it right out like that and it would make a big, huge pop. And sometimes it would ache a bit, but now that I'm older, I don't notice anything. It was just when I was growing that it would get jammed or make a popping sound or kind of ache, but it doesn't bother me. So, number 3, I get terrible motion sickness. So if I'm taking a car ride that's longer than 40 minutes and I'm not driving, I need to take Gravol. I also cannot be in a car that gets too warm. Heat makes me feel sick, so I hate hot tubs. I don't like sitting in a bath. Those things just make me feel sick. So this story kind of goes along with that. So I once puked on a roller coaster due to motion sickness. So this was a couple years ago. My friend and I went on a road trip to Canada's Wonderland. There was this new ride called the Behemoth. If you want to pause this video and go see what the Behemoth is, there's lots of YouTube videos. You can do like the first person point of view. This at the time was the largest ride with the biggest drop that they had. Oh, I don't know why I went on it. So we ended up going and it just happened to be the hottest day of the summer. So there's the heat that was already making me feel sick. I took Gravol. We did a bunch of other rides and I was kind of feeling queasy on that. So we took a break before we did the Behemoth. It was such a terrible idea, but my friend, this was her sole purpose of going, so I didn't want to be a poor sport, so I was like, yes, we will go on this ride. I do have a bit of fear of heights, but I still was going to do it because she wanted to go on it. Once we got in our seats, I immediately thought, this is weird. You're not buckled in. There's no, like, you know, the things that come down over your front of your chest to, like, lock you in that way. All they had was a bar between your legs that came over top of your thighs a bit with like handles on them. Like no seatbelt or anything, so that was weird. And when you're going up the ride, it seems like you're going up pretty darn straight, taking forever, and then you get to the top and you can't see down. That's how far down you were going. I ended up closing my eyes and holding on for dear life because I felt like you were going to shoot out of the seat. It was nuts. And I had my feet like tucked underneath my seat, like grabbing onto the back of my seat for dear life because I felt like that bar was not holding you in at all. So my friend thought it was a hoot. She's laughing. She was looking the whole time, watching everything because she thought it was exciting. I thought I was going to fly out of my seat. So once we did the whole thing, I think I had my eyes closed probably for the whole thing. You park on the one side while the other people are loading on another cart. So it was there while we're sitting silently. We're closer to the front. And I was like, I think I'm going to be sick. And then I spewed everywhere. I tried to get it off to the side of me. Some of it went on me. But of course it's silent where you're just sitting there. People are just talking behind you. And then all of a sudden, oh, she's puking. Oh my gosh, don't look. And it was so embarrassing because we're just sitting there stuck in our seat. And I just wanted to get out of there. So once we were finally able to get out of their seat, I made a beeline for the bathroom so that I could wash off my pants. It was terrible. It was really, really embarrassing. Okay, so next fact about me is when I got married, I chose to wear a black dress. It wasn't a wedding dress, obviously, at all. It was just a black, shiny, nice dress. If anybody knows Le Chateau, that's where I got it from. I'm not somebody who likes to do what everybody else is doing. I've never wanted to wear like a big, beautiful, pretty white wedding dress. I think they're gorgeous. I personally just hate dresses. I hate them with a passion. I've worn maybe only a few dresses if I've absolutely had to when I'm in weddings. But yeah, for my own, I was like, not wearing a white wedding dress. I'm just gonna wear a simple black dress that I enjoy. I'm sure a lot of people thought that was weird that it was black for one thing. I didn't care, I enjoyed it. Okay, so the last thing I'll share is I have something called a geographic tongue. So it's inflammation on the top layer of my tongue that there's no reason why it's there. They don't know how you get rid of it. Sometimes it moves or disappear, go away. They just call it geographic because of how it looks, kind of like a map. So I'll show you. So my dentist was the one that told me what it was because I had no idea. I thought like taste buds have been worn off or something like that because it looks like they're missing, but really they're just inflamed. So it really doesn't bother me at all. They said there's nothing you can do. There's no reason why I have it. It's one of those life's little mysteries apparently. The only thing that does bother it if I eat something spicy or sour, very sensitive to that. Or if I'm eating, say, salt and vinegar chips, sometimes it really burns and it's like, water. But otherwise, it doesn't bother me. It just looks a little weird. Okay guys, so if you like this video, I can certainly make another one. Bye!